There is an old man who will not watch television anymore. He will not open a newspaper or turn on the news. Not because he is bored, because he is certain he has already seen all of it. Every show, every headline, before it happens. He tells his wife he has already been to places he has never visited. He remembers meeting his doctor the first time they meet. For this man, every single moment feels like a rerun of a life he has already lived. His name in the studies is patient AKP. Most of us only get a flicker of what he feels all the time, a strange sudden shiver, the feeling you have lived this exact moment before. We call it déjà vu, and he is not alone. A young man, 23, healthy, no epilepsy, once described it as being trapped in a time loop. Very frightening. He too stopped reading and watching anything new. For him, it was tangled with anxiety. For the old man, with a fading memory. Same eerie feeling, very different causes. And that is the first clue to how strange déjà vu really is. And here is the unsettling part. After more than a century of science, no one fully agrees on what it is. Déjà vu is French for already seen. That is all the name means. The feeling that a brand new moment is somehow a repeat. It is incredibly common. About 2 out of 3 people have felt it at least once in their life. But here is the first twist that breaks everyone's expectations. Déjà vu does not grow as you get older. It fades. It peaks in your teens and 20s when your brain is sharpest and slowly disappears for the rest of your life.
It hits more when you are tired, stressed, or somewhere new. And the more you travel, the more you tend to feel it. It even has a mirror twin, the opposite feeling, called jamais vu, never seen. Want to feel it right now? Write one simple word, like door, 30 times in a row. Door, door, door. Soon the word stops looking like a word at all. It curdles into meaningless shapes. That alien feeling for something you know perfectly is jamais vu. Scientists won an Ig Nobel Prize for proving it. Humans have felt this forever and struggled to name it. A French philosopher, back in 1876, finally gave it the name we still use, déjà vu. But writers had been describing it for centuries before that. Charles Dickens captured it perfectly. A feeling, he wrote, of what we are saying and doing having been said and done before. Of knowing perfectly what will be said next, as if we suddenly remembered it. St. Augustine called them false memories. Shelley blamed dreams. Freud thought it hid a secret wish. Everyone felt it. No one could explain it. So why, after all this time, is déjà vu still a mystery? Because it is almost impossible to study. It is brief, just a few seconds. It is rare, often once or twice a year. You cannot summon it, and it leaves no trace to measure. For over 100 years, that left a vacuum. And into that vacuum rushed some of the wildest ideas humans have ever dreamed up. So before we get to the science, let us walk through the theories people actually believe. Just remember, these are beliefs, not proven facts.
Theory 1. The glitch in the matrix. The idea that reality is a simulation and déjà vu is a bug, a render error, the code rewriting itself. It comes straight from the film The Matrix, where a repeated black cat is a sign the simulation just got edited. Serious thinkers have asked if we live in a simulation. But notice, the philosopher behind that idea never once mentioned déjà vu. The internet glued the two together. It feels good because it turns a spooky feeling into something technical and safe, a bug we could almost fix. Theory 2.
past lives. The belief that déjà vu is a memory leaking through from a life you lived before. It is rooted in ancient ideas of reincarnation, the soul passing from body to body, carrying fragments across lifetimes. One psychiatrist spent decades collecting thousands of cases of children who seemed to recall past lives. Real research, but never accepted as proof and heavily disputed. It comforts us. It whispers that death is not the end, and that the people we instantly click with, we have met before. Theory 3. The soul stepping out. A folk belief that déjà vu is the instant your soul slips out of your body, then snaps back. Others say it is the soul recognizing a place it knew before you were even born, a sign you are exactly where you are meant to be. There is no evidence a soul leaves the body, but the feeling is so vivid that for thousands of years, a spiritual answer felt obvious. Theory 4. Parallel universes. The idea that déjà vu is a bleed-through between timelines. For 1 second, you catch a moment from a universe where this already happened.
It borrows the language of real physics, the many worlds idea. But in that physics, the parallel worlds can never touch or send signals, ever. Still, it is a beautiful thought. Somewhere out there, another you is living another life. And for a heartbeat, your worlds brushed past each other. Theory 5. Precognition. You did not just feel this before. You dreamed it. You are remembering the future. People have believed in prophetic dreams for 5,000 years. The feeling that you know what comes next can be overwhelming. Hold on to that one, because later, in a lab, scientists will put it to a brutal test, and it will not survive. Theory 6. Ancestral memory. The belief that déjà vu is a memory inherited from an ancestor, written into your blood, your DNA. You might know it from video games, reliving a forebear's life through their DNA. The psychologist Carl Jung imagined a shared, inherited unconscious. But here is the honest science. There is no known way to inherit a specific memory of a specific place. Your genes carry instincts and tendencies, not the memory of a street your great-grandfather walked. Theory 7. Twin flames. The belief that one soul was split into two bodies, and when you finally meet your other half, déjà vu erupts. I know you from before. The idea is ancient and romantic. The modern version, sadly, has been used by online groups to take people's money and trust. Beautiful belief, dangerous business. Theory 8. The time loop. The belief that you have lived this exact moment before because time itself repeats, like a record skipping back. And Theory 9. The universe is talking to you. That déjà vu is a sign you are on the right path, a wink from fate that you are exactly where you should be. Notice what all 9 of these have in common. They take a tiny private glitch and turn it into destiny, meaning, a message, because that feels so much better than my brain made an error. So that is the dream world. Souls, glitches, parallel lives, the future. Powerful, comforting, and completely unproven. Now, the harder, stranger, and far more beautiful answer. What is your brain actually doing in that uncanny second? The leading scientific idea is that déjà vu is a memory error. To be exact, a feeling of familiarity with no real memory behind it. Your brain has 2 different jobs. One says, I recognize this. The other says, here is exactly when and where I saw it. Déjà vu is when the first one fires. I know this, but the second one comes back empty-handed. Nothing. And that mismatch feels like magic. Why would the wrong alarm go off? Because a brand new scene can secretly match the shape of an old one you have forgotten.
One scientist proved it. She built virtual worlds where a new room secretly shared the exact layout of an earlier one people could not consciously recall. And it worked. In those matching rooms, people suddenly felt déjà vu, on demand, triggered by a layout their conscious mind had forgotten, but their brain had not. There was an older, simpler idea too, split perception. You glance at something while distracted, then look again a second later. That first half-seen glimpse never fully registered, so when you look properly, it feels like a memory of a moment 1 second old. But where does this actually live in the brain? For that, scientists got their biggest clue from an unexpected place: epilepsy.
Some people with a certain epilepsy feel an intense wave of déjà vu right before a seizure, a warning aura every time. That gave researchers something priceless, a déjà vu they could find and even trigger deep in a specific patch of brain, the medial temporal lobe. Decades ago, a surgeon operating on awake patients touched that region with a tiny electrode, and his patients suddenly felt vivid, dreamy familiarity, déjà vu on command. It is a small structure called the rhinal cortex, your brain's familiarity detector. Spark it, and the feeling of "I know this" floods in, with nothing behind it. And this one fact quietly kills a popular theory. People said déjà vu was your two eyes sending the image at slightly different speeds. But a man who was blind from birth also gets déjà vu through smell, sound, and touch. No eyes involved at all. So it was never about the eyes. Now, remember the old man from the start who stopped watching television? Here is what science thinks went wrong inside him. In a healthy brain, the false familiarity fires, but a checker steps in and says, "No, this is new." You feel a shiver and move on. In his brain, damaged by dementia, that checker had broken. So when the false familiarity fired, nothing stopped it. He simply believed it. Every new moment became an old one. Scientists gave it a name: déjà vécu, already lived. It is déjà vu with the brakes cut, and it shows you that the eerie feeling and our ability to dismiss it are two separate machines. Now, the modern twist, and it flips everything. What if déjà vu is not your brain failing? What if it is your brain working perfectly? Scientists scanned people's brains during déjà vu. They expected the memory regions to light up. They did not. Instead, the decision-making regions at the front lit up, the part that checks and resolves conflicts, the brain's fact checker. So this is the new picture. A false familiarity signal fires, and your frontal cortex catches it. Wait, this cannot really be familiar. It is brand new. That uneasy shiver of déjà vu might literally be the sound of your memory fact-checking itself, catching an error so you do not believe a memory that is not real. Which would explain why it fades with age. As the brain's sharp error-checking softens, the little fact-checks grow quieter. But what about that powerful feeling that during déjà vu, you know what happens next? Remember, we said we would test it. Scientists used virtual reality to give people déjà vu, then froze the scene and asked them, what happens next? Which way do we turn? People felt sure, absolutely certain they could predict it. And then they guessed, and they were no better than random chance. The feeling of knowing the future is real. The knowing is not. It is an illusion riding on top of a familiar feeling. And that single experiment quietly closes the door on the prophets, the past lives, the parallel worlds. Déjà vu does not show you the future. It only feels like it does. So after everything, here is where the science honestly stands. There is still no single settled answer. But the leading story is not a ghost or a glitch or another universe. It is a quiet, ordinary miracle happening inside your own skull. Your brain takes a brand new instant, a moment that has never existed before in the history of the universe. And for one strange second, it makes that brand new moment feel ancient, feel lived in, feel like forever folded into a single heartbeat. That a 3-pound lump of tissue can manufacture the feeling of eternity inside a heartbeat, that is stranger and more beautiful than any ghost story we ever invented to explain it. So the next time that shiver hits you, do not look for a glitch or a past life. Just smile. It may be the sound of a sharp, healthy mind quietly checking its work. If your brain just whispered that you have seen this before, stay curious with me. There is so much more strange wiring hiding inside your head.